Hi everyone, Bernadette Heichman here, Graduate Residence Hall Director over at New Hall. When it comes to being an educator, especially a hall director, building community where people feel like they belong is of utmost importance to me. With this comes other values such as teamwork, understanding, celebrating differences, trust, transparency, fairness, creativity, and of course, fun. I also think it's really important to keep up with the needs of students, whether this means technology, mental health, their fashion trends, and the language they use. I really think student development theory is important because it helps us understand that there are different perspectives in this world. It's going into a situation with the ability to try and understand someone else and not for ourselves to be understood. Student development theory is also a great way to learn about history and how far we've come in higher education, especially since the creation of theory. And it's figuring out what we can do to progress even more in the future and learn more about our students' experiences, their needs, and their wants. Theory has influenced me as a student affairs educator with the process of how things worked, of how things work. I've always been interested in this, especially how to get from this point A to the point B. My top two strengths from the Gallup Strengths Finder test is strategic and maximizer. Um, so this past semester, I've really learned to have those conversations that I would usually have at the end, such as like what went well with our program, what could we do better, but to start having those more towards the middle. Um, so we can reevaluate the direction we're going in and change it as we go and not just leave it for the end. I've also been having those conversations with my CAs of different things that have been changing this year from last year and how they like the systems or don't like the systems and how we can make those things better sooner rather than later. This conversation earlier really helps build a trusting relationship and I can validate how they feel and that it's important. I really think meaning making is the student development theory that really influenced me this semester. It took me a while to understand it, but I think Baxter Magolda really explains it well when they say meaning making is created when we can focus on intersections and not just separate constructs. So to me, it's knowing my values, what's important to me, the environment in which I submerge myself, what I believe in, and how all of these different things impact my decision making and ultimately the legacy I want to leave on the past and creating for the future. But it's knowing that I'm not the only one that carries these, that everybody does. Dr. Abe's in our Skype session also um, explained it by being educated across the board about different identities and how we have this context that is coming at us and how that context influences meaning making. It's realizing why we are the individuals we are and how we can use our experiences to validate others and learn about other people's experiences that we really can identify with, and going on to work together to create something great. I plan on enhancing my student development theory um, when it comes to programming. I think I've really took this upon having conversations with my CAs. So they would, plan a program for like 24 people, but only 3 would show up. And they'd be discouraged by this number. And I would say, well, what kind of conversations did you have with your residents that did show up? Did you learn something new about them? Did they learn something new about you? Did you find something in common? Did you learn something about the topic that you were presenting on? And more often than not, the answers to those questions are, well, yeah, I did. I learned this. I learned that, and it's like, wow, you had an impact on this person then, which means that meaning making can be disguised sometimes, and I think that's an important thing to highlight. When I draw upon my own practice, my one-on-ones are really what I try to make meaningful for my community advisors. I don't want them to see this as just another task they have to check off of their calendar. But during my one-on-ones, I asked them first how the position is going, because that's why we're meeting. Then I'll ask about school, because they are students first, and then I'll go into anything they want to talk about in their personal life. Do they want to talk about extracurriculars, their home life? And I ask them to share whatever they want to. But by talking with my CAs individually, it helps me gain a better perspective of who they are, what they want to get out of the position, and also what they want to give to the position. I plan on implementing my philosophy next semester when I create a Twitter handle, and hopefully get my residents more engaged with me. Because I have this title of hall director, most residents don't want to come talk to me unless they have a blown out roommate conflict. So I really want to get them to get more involved with me, and I want to meet the students where they're at. And all your pain